I just received a video. I'm not even going to mention the name, but this kind of cracks me up. This guy sent me a video of how he's taking, a court case to prove that our justice system isn't working, that police aren't following the laws or the judges aren't following the laws. And to me, it seems rather insane that, these people that are saying we need to wake up, it's like, wake up to what? It's, like, you already know that the government systems are corrupt. So we're going to phone into our politicians and say, fix this. It's like they're not even listening to you. And it's at what point are you going to recognize that no justice system works? It's a waste of time. Yet you're going to waste your money and your time and your life. You have one life, and you're going to waste that life, 1 second of your life, trying to prove a point in court. The point is there is no court. That's just an illusion. All of these judges, they're all corrupt, and they'll definitely scratch each other's backs. You'll never prove anything wrong in court if it's against them, because they're the guys that are judging themselves, and they'll never judge themselves to be doing anything wrong because they're all friggin' corrupt. I wouldn't say it's even so much corruption as they're all friggin' insane. And they've got "In God We Trust" in courtrooms, and it's like they're judges. Doesn't God say nobody judges except for the big guy? And yet they're going to play God, and they only perceive everything from their perceptions. They'll never perceive anything from your point of view unless you carry the same point of view as they do. And they're all rich. When was the last time you ever seen a poor judge? They'll never ever perceive any case from a source of poverty. That's why the rich guy always wins, because they can only understand the rich guy's point of view. They can only see evidence that's relevant from a wealthy perspective. If you've got a poverty perspective and say, hey, but this is relevant, no judge is going to perceive that as relevant, so it doesn't even get admissible in court. And in order to find any just decision, you need information. You can't make a decision unless you get all information. And as long as a judge is stopping information from being heard, right there, that's when justice stops. Right there is when they cannot receive information. They only want to receive the information that they want to look at. And from their perspective, they'll never see that they're doing anything wrong. So you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. And it's like, if anybody wants to wake up, don't play the justice game, because you're only wasting your time. It's not going to prove anything. But at the same time, if I was ever in court, I would start using some of the sciences, and I would be dismissing every judge under prejudice. That no judge can make a decision on anything that has to do with me because they're prejudiced. They cannot view, my point of view. They'll only view it from their perception. So I would bring in, you know, what's your perception? Like, can you even comprehend what law is? And one of the biggest problems that I have is when I was in court, it's supposed to be the law that if you see a crime being committed, it's your duty to do something about it. But judges see crimes being committed in court all the time, but they'll never act unless a lawyer makes them act. So they're not acting according to their own laws. And one of the ways is, I was bringing up perjury and fraud, and there was more than enough evidence in front of them that he just committed perjury. Why isn't a judge just slam down his hammer and say that's perjury? Like, I shouldn't even be the one that points it out to him that if somebody goes and brings evidence under oath, you know, like in my case, it was child support. I can only use my case, but my case is relevant to all other cases. And if you lie under oath, that's perjury. And my ex was there lying under oath saying kids lived with him, and he provided no evidence. Meanwhile, I provide all of the evidence that, hey, the kids live with me, they were in school, they were in totally different provinces. You know, I have evidence, he has none. That's perjury. You know, like, and it went on and on, one after another after another. He didn't just lie about one thing. He's been lying for 9 years, and I've been proving his lies for 9 years. And no judge, even if I told them, because you can't find a lawyer you can't afford, and I've had legal aid, and I've tried getting them to speak up for me, but they don't tend to speak. So I spoke up for myself in front of a judge and asked the question, isn't that perjury? And they didn't even want to answer the question. They specifically said, we're not talking about that. And it's like, why? If I had a $500 an attorney asking that question, that lawyer or that judge would have been answering those questions. But they wouldn't even respect me enough to represent myself and just say, we're not going to talk about that. But anybody that's even facing any courts, you know, I would use my case as case law and say, you can't tell, you can't distinguish right from wrong. Because how can you prove, how can you not tell where kids live and when? If you can't tell that, then you can't tell whether somebody committed a crime. You can't tell in any aspect of justice, anything. You know, the end of the day, I've been paying for 2 years child support for the child that lives with me. There's a court order that I was to pay child support for. And not only that, but because, you know, I ended up losing my mind from all of this, I'm on a long-term disability welfare system whose mandate is to go after child support. But they don't. So technically, welfare is paying for a child and paying, because this deadbeat already has the money. Welfare is actually paying a deadbeat. If you want to get technical, they've paid this deadbeat $100 a month for over 2 years, and they don't see anything wrong with that. So you're wasting your friggin' time and your friggin' breath. I mean, anybody that, in my particular case, they would always say, go back to court, go back to court. And it's like, I tried that for 9 years. At what point do we see court is a waste of time? Court can't tell the difference between right or wrong, so I don't even bother. I just end up with the story of, here's the evidence. You can't tell the difference between right or wrong, and all you want me to do is spend the rest of my life in a court system where I know I'm never going to find justice there, and I'm going to waste my whole life there. And that's pretty much what they want. They want you stressed out to the max, because let's face it, who's not stressed when they're dealing with a court case? You know, but that's the government. That's what they want you to do, is stress yourself to the point where you get some kind of illness and die. And in the meantime, it keeps them all employed, because there has to be a judge there, there has to be a receptionist there, there has to be clerks there. All of them have to be employed, so they need to have all of these court cases going, you know, and they're all fake court cases. You know, none of it is real. And you'll see so many people that are fighting against this justice system but they're getting nowhere, because they're using the justice system to prove that there is no justice system. It's like, we need science. And science says you cannot judge anybody because you'll view it with the glasses you're wearing. And you already prejudge somebody based on your perception. So it's impossible. It's impossible to find justice. And that's why they say this isn't the best system we've got, but it's the only one we do have. So while they're saying, and they fully admit that this isn't the best, that means there is no justice. Wake up. You won't prove anything there. You'll just be wasting your time. But keep records. Peace out.